Hello Flosstube, this is Kim back again with another weekly cross-stitching update. Today is the 30th of November 2020. This is video number 97. And I worked on 3 different pieces this week and I have an FFO to show you. So, the first one I worked on was Modern Folk Embroidery's 2018 Mystery Sale. This was 4 seasons. And my goal for the year is to get this winter quarter done. Worked on it for 3 days and I put in 1400 teeny tiny 1/1 stitches. So what I did is I finished up this section over here and then I brought the top border over and I did this corner, this triangle here. So I'm just coming down and then I'll do the winter and the bottom Quaker motif, and then these 2 corners. This is 28 count Monaco that I dyed myself. And one thing I noticed when I took this off the Q-snap, it'll fit. And there is, you know, this is 3 inches, but somehow I'm gonna have less than 3 inches at the bottom. Still, it's gonna be fine, but it's not centered on the fabric like I meant to. So that is the 4 Seasons Sale by Modern Folk Embroidery. I'm stitching this with Ecru floss. So I will keep working on that a little bit each week, probably, to get that section done before the year is out. And then, because of Thanksgiving, I worked on my Santa sampler for 2 days, but because of Thanksgiving, I didn't actually dedicate much time to it. This is the Santa sampler by Cooler Design Studios, and if you're watching this video on Monday, the 30th of November, they do have a 15% off sale going on their website, and you can get this pattern as a PDF download. So I have it in Donna Cooler's 555 Christmas Cross-Stitch Designs book. But like I said, you can get it as a PDF or a paper copy, I believe, from their website. So that is the Santa sampler. And when I showed it to you last week, I have this top center Santa. I had all the crosses, all the full crosses done. Well, Thanksgiving, I backstitched him, and then Friday, I started on the 3 Santas below him, and I got just about all the red done on them except for like their pink cheeks, like this Santa. So all I have to do is their pink cheeks, but all the red is done. Now it's just the grays and the whites and the skin tone. So he now has his back stitching complete, and you'll have a star Santa, and this one kind of looks like a moon Santa, and this one looks kind of like a gnome Santa. And my goal for the year is to get 4 done. So I need to complete those bottom 3 this year. So I will work on it again this week, next week, at some point to get those 3 Santas done. And then I pulled out Kindred Spirits to start my last page for the year on this one. This is artwork by Jody Bergsma. And I am starting the page down here, the middle of the white horse's neck. I put in, again, I've been doing other things, so not as many stitches. 3 days, only 1,300 tent stitches. And it's all in white, so I don't know if you're going to be able to see it. You see the white stitches there? So big section here. And some up in here. So this does go into the next page, but I mean, and there's more white to do on this page, but I started up here because it was easier to work down this way than to count down and start over here. So I worked down and there's 1,300 white stitches in there. Hard to see, but they're there. So I will keep working on this one. Again, I'll be working on it in December for full coverage fanatics around the world visiting the United States because Jody is an American. So we'll keep working on that one next week. Um, and this weekend, what I wrestled with, and I thought it was going to be an easy fully finish because I had everything I needed, but it wasn't. Christmas Rules by Lizzie Kate. I finished stitching this October 2018. We moved here from Nebraska to North Dakota over Thanksgiving, so we had household goods before the week before Thanksgiving. So I finished it right before we moved, and then of course getting our household goods, getting settled. I didn't even think about fully finishing it for the Christmas 2018 season. Christmas 2019, last year, my husband was deployed and I was solo parenting, so I didn't think about fully finishing it then. So it was finally time to fully finish it, especially since I started Halloween Rules in October. So I have been on the lookout. I knew kind of how I wanted to finish it, but I finally went to Hobby Lobby and I was looking around and taking my tape measure and measuring things to see how I could finish it. And I finally put it all together this weekend. It took me hours because it is 2/2 on 28 count. The design is actually just over 2 feet tall and about 6 inches wide. And so to get that weird measurement mounted on the foam core board so everything was straight, because you have, every other rule has a border around it. So it makes it real eye-catching if it's not straight. First I tried lacing it, and the foam core I first tried, I didn't cut it straight enough because the outside edge, like the corners, had been damaged, so I had to trim off like 1 inch and then make 2 cuts. Well, then my lines, I don't think were perfectly straight enough, which didn't help trying to make the stitching straight. So I got more foam core, and the next piece actually had a faint grid. You can buy it with a faint grid printed on one side, which really helps you cut straight. But then I still had to, I was working from the bottom up, and I was trying pinning this time instead of lacing. And I still had to start pinning it 7 times. Now, I think I started pinning it 5 times, and I fully pinned it twice more after that. And if you follow me on Instagram, you'll see that I posted it and then tore it apart and fixed it and posted it again. Because I was so frustrated. It was one of those, it's fine, I'm just putting it together. And then I think about it for a couple hours and be like, no, it's not fine. I think I can fix it. Let me have another go. And luckily I used Aleene's tacky glue and a hot glue gun, so I could pull it apart. It wasn't damaging the fabric. It damaged the foam core a little bit, just taking the paper layer off. But thankfully I didn't use anything that I couldn't undo, so I fixed it again. So here we go, and I just see that the hot glue is not holding, so I'm gonna have to glue it again. So this board I found just like this. It's white on this side. I'll show you the back of it. It's wood color. It's from Hobby Lobby, guys. So right in their unfinished wood section. And I knew it was a little big for the Halloween rules, height-wise, but width-wise it was just about perfect. So I walked down their Christmas decorations, like their picks and everything, and I thought these would fit the colors and be whimsical enough just like this without fighting it. And then I bought 2 different, sorry, where'd he go? I was running lots of errands, so I saw this ornament at Target. I also thought this ornament, and I was like, one of those is going to work. But this little penguin dude, they're about the same size. But my husband and I, we like the little gnome better, and so those are hot glued on. And then Christmas Rules. This is on 28 count Monaco that I rip dyed with camel and stitched in all DMC. So I will have to re-hot glue it or use some E6000 maybe. now that it's set. The problem was that if I made this straight, like these border lines straight, then these lines weren't straight. So as I pinned the sides, I had to pull this way and pull up and pull down at the same time to really stretch it straight on the foam core. So that is Christmas rules. So that's all I worked on this week. So next week, again, Kindred Spirits. Tomorrow's the 1st of December, so our final familiar from the Ingleside Imaginarium Witches catalog of Witches Familiar Sal will be released. And so I'll get that stitched up and get that piece finished this week. And also, my husband has a really weird week again, so I am going to be working on Odin, which I started back in October. So he'll get a little more work on him. And then I might go back to the Santas or the Four Seasons. We'll see how much time I have and how the week progresses. I do have one, it's not really haul, it's Stitchy Kindness. Someone, a subscriber who watches my videos and is also a full coverage fanatic, sent me a message and asked if I was interested in some of the lavender and lace angels, because she knew I stitched up the guardian angel. And I said, actually, I am one of the ones that she had. So she sent me Angel of the Seas by Lavender and Lace. I've always had my eye on this one. I knew I stitched up Guardian Angel as a remembrance for my babies lost in miscarriage. But I also have this one in my stash. And so, the back of my mind, this is In the Arms of an Angel by Lavender and Lace. I liked Guardian Angel better as a first, but now I have 3, and I have 3 miscarriages. So the back of my mind, I'm thinking I could stitch more. I don't know when I'm going to do it. Like, it's not something I have to do now. Because these are like a healing process, kind of, you know, it's hard sometimes to stitch on them. But I love them too. So thank you, Sarah, for your stitchy kindness of giving me Angel of the Seas. If you want to see this finished, I don't know how many videos back, but Lisa of Lisa's Stitching and Such, she finished Angel of the Seas a couple years ago, and it was beautiful. So speaking of Lisa, we haven't seen any videos from you recently. I don't know if she watches mine. I know she does virtual stitchers, but we need to see an update. Okay, that is it for my stitching content. I have no life updates right now, so the only thing I have left is an Air Force story. If that doesn't interest you, then we'll see you next week. Thank you for joining me. Air Force story. Because I have so many Air Force friends on Facebook, and because of Facebook's algorithms, I see a fair number of Air Force related articles and things that on my Facebook that just come up. Whether it's something my friends have shared or just one of the advertisements. You know, Facebook comes up with these weird news articles. And so on Monday, after I uploaded my video, I came across this article saying that it was actually the title of the article was a quote from an aircrew member saying, "I hope they chop you up into little bits that don't get used for anything." So I'm like, okay. But it was a picture of a plane that I recognized, so I clicked on the article and I read it. And then later Monday night, another full coverage fanatic and subscriber sent me a message saying, you need to go watch Rachel Maddow on MSNBC, I think it's MSNBC, because she's talking about this one airplane, and I'd like to get your take on it, or, you know, hear what you think about it. And so I did. I went back and I watched it, and not all the information was presented in in that particular segment of the news show. So, plus what I found in the article that I read off Facebook, that Facebook directed me to, was interesting. So I wanted to share it. So we are talking about WC tail number 582, which was recently retired. This is the plane at Offutt Air Force Base in Omaha, Nebraska. It was retired on Friday the 13th, this past November, or, this month. So a couple weeks ago. And this was during its retirement. It's about to fly off and go to the boneyard and be chopped up to bits, like they said. So this plane is about 56, 58 years old. I couldn't find the exact year number on it. But it's old. It has somewhere between 29,000 and 36,000 flight hours on it. So this plane has a nickname. We've talked about other planes having nicknames. This airplane's nickname is Lucifer's Chariot. Okay. Now, before I go on the story, I'm going to ask you, has anyone ever had a car or like a boat, or I had a horse trailer that was an absolute lemon? Like, it could do nothing right every single time you took it out, or any big trip, something bad happened. I had a trailer that was like that from the very beginning. The purchase didn't go well. The place I bought it with, some weird things happened when they delivered it to me, and every single time we took it to a show, something bad happened with that trailer, and I could not wait to get rid of it. Sometimes you can have lemon cars that are like that. It's like they're possessed. Something's wrong with them. Well, just like cars and boats, airplanes develop a personality as well. And with 582, its personality is, I hate you and I'm going to brake significantly and test your ability to fly an unsafe flight to get everyone safely home, if that makes any sense. So, aircraft 582 was retired on Friday the 13th. Some of the aircrew quotes, I already said, I hope they chop you up into small bits that aren't used for anything. Another aircrew member quoted The Office, "You are the reason I drink, the reason I live to forget." Another one said that the 4 years that they flew it were the hardest 4 years he's ever flown. So these type aircraft, they are called nuke sniffers, or Constant Phoenix is their official name. And what they do is, let me show you again. On the side of the fuselage, you'll see this little pod looking thing right above the wing. That actually takes air samples in as the plane is flying. Takes air samples in and can determine if there is radioactive particulates in the air. And we started doing this after the, what's it called? Limited Nuke Test Ban Treaty of 1963, which said we can't test nuclear weapons above ground. So we can go fly over other countries and determine if they've been using nuclear weapons. So that's why there's two airplanes that do this, both based out of Offutt Air Force Base. So these planes are flown a lot. This particular plane, 582, has had engine fires, generator failures, broken landing gear, hydraulic leaks. 2 significant times it broke. In 2017, it had an engine fire while they were at 31,000 feet altitude right over the Indian Ocean. They had 20 people on board because, so although it doesn't look like much on the outside, that pod goes into a lot of electronics inside the airplane. So it's not a passenger jet per se, but there's a lot of other like computer type stations inside the plane. So 20 people on board, engine fire. They had to dump fuel so they could be at a landing weight, because you can't land heavy. And they landed in Indonesia. at a civilian airport. And when they landed, one of their 2 hydraulic systems had failed. So they were almost had no hydraulics. Now, the 20 aircrew members, of course, were not expecting to land in Indonesia. They had no passports, and they had to sleep on the plane for over a week, while the maintenance assembled a crew and parts to go fix the jet, because there was literally flames coming out the back of the engine when they landed. So, and one of my neighbors, when we lived in Nebraska, her husband actually was one of the maintainers that flew to Indonesia to help fix the plane. Another flight on 2018, it lost all the generators, while it was flying over the Black Sea, which means they had no ability to use autopilot and had to hand fly the jet back across Europe to land at RAF Mildenhall in the UK. So this jet nobody likes it. It risks lives every time it's flown. Back in 2018, the Omaha City newspaper, which is the Omaha World Herald, conducted an investigation that it printed in its newspaper, and that investigation spurred the Nebraska legislature to push Congress to replace these 2 planes. Congress holds the purse strings for all military branches in the United States. The president has no say in what happens to different aircraft in the military. That's not his job description, no matter who's the sitting president in the United States. I only say that because Rachel Maddow claimed that President Trump was destroying the airplanes. Here's the key thing. It's Congress that determines what's happening to the airplanes because they control our funding. And there's already replacements in work. Replacements are on the way. The replacements are going to be KC-135s that are being modified to become the WC-135s. So when you look at a KC-135, again, it's the same airframe. It's a Boeing 707. So same airframe, and when they modify it, they're going to take off the refueling boom. They're going to update the electronics inside, and they're going to put that little pod over the wings to sense the air. So this takes billions of dollars because they're going to upgrade 3 or 4. I found differing information. 3 or 4 refuelers to replace the 2 old nuke sniffers, and then some of the other modified 135s at Offutt are also going to be replaced, I believe. So let me look at my notes. So that investigation in 2018 spurred Congress to include funding to replace these aircraft in the fiscal year 19 and fiscal year 20 budgets. This takes time. Okay, the first modifications have already started, and the planes will be delivered in 2022 and 2023. It takes 18 to 24 months for a civilian company to make these modifications to the airplanes. So the retiring 2 jets that are so old had between 29,000 and 36,000 hours. The refuelers, the KCs that are replacing them, were aircraft that were from a National Guard. I don't know which state they came from, but they were from National Guard, which they aren't flown as often or as hard for refueling. So they're 2 to 3 years newer, and they have 25,000 to 27,000 flight hours on them. Plus, they received new engines in the 1990s. They have new avionics and newer flight controls than the old aircraft had. So it's a substantial upgrade from the old jets that are being retired to the new jets. So all this takes time. And that is what's going on at Offutt right now. And another thing that Rachel Maddow claimed is that we were we weren't going to be monitoring other countries for using nuclear weapons, which is not true. The planes are being replaced. We will continue to monitor for Constant Phoenix, and I forget what the other name is. But yes, we will continue to monitor. And it's Congress that gives us the money to do so, to get new planes. So we don't have to keep endangering our lives flying old ones. So these planes, even though they were newer than the B-52s that my husband flies on, they're in much worse shape than the B-52s my husband flies on. He doesn't complain about the planes that he's flying on like these air crew. And I will link the articles below that I've got this information from so you can read it yourself if you're interested. So that is all about the Constant Phoenix aircraft at Offutt. I think, yep, that's all my notes. So I hope everybody has a good stitching week, and we'll talk to you later, guys. Bye.